FBI Director Christopher Wray just got grilled in front of the House Weaponization Committee, and boy did he have a lot to say. Let's dig into it. My name is Matthew, and welcome to Matthew Lane. A lot of it had to do with Donald Trump, obviously. One of the first things that he was asked about by the Republicans was the raid on Mar-a-Lago. One of the first things was he said that he wouldn't classify it as a raid. If you've watched me at all, you know that calling it a raid has driven me insane. Insane! It was, I'm going to go to what he said because this has been my definition all along. He said that it was the execution of a lawful search warrant. Back to me real quick. Search warrants are executed every friggin' day in this country. The police do it every day. SWAT teams do it all the time, right? It happens. It's a thing. This is what he called it. Now, he also went through the procedure, what led up to it. And there were a lot of things that led up to it. Donald Trump was given a lot of time, a lot of opportunity to return everything. He didn't want to give exact dates when asked about the exact dates, but I did personally double check these and I made sure that all this information is correct. Not giving exact dates, things like that is really pretty standard. If you ever watch anyone testify in front of Congress, they just don't want to get anything wrong. This is normal. So let's review that. First, in May of 2021, the National Archives noticed that they didn't have all the presidential records. So throughout 2021, the National Archives Records Administration, NARA, made a lot of follow-up requests. They contacted Trump's lawyers time and time again. They heard nothing back. Trump failed to apply to any of these requests. It's not really an issue of a request, it's a matter of law. January of 2022, after Trump and his attorneys were warned that it was a violation of the Presidential Records Act, they were explicitly told, again, that it was a violation of the Presidential Records Act. That's when they finally got 15 more boxes. Now, NARA knew that these 15 boxes still didn't contain everything, and so they needed more back. Then in May of 2022, well, let's back up. Before then, the Department of Justice impaneled a grand jury. They had a bunch of people meet up, they gave them a bunch of evidence and said, okay, we need a subpoena. So would you approve a subpoena? That's what a grand jury is. It's just like a regular jury, except for they don't convict anyone. They give findings and approve things. So this grand jury approved and said, yes, you get a subpoena. So there was a grand jury subpoena. Now in June of 2022, June 3rd specifically, is what he said, Trump was present for this. More documents were handed over. A certification was given that everything had been returned. Now, this certification was false. The FBI, when they got this subpoena, when they were serving it, they were walking around, and there were certain rooms that they were explicitly not allowed to go into. The subpoena was just to say, hey, give us these boxes back. You need to give us more stuff. That's all that it said. The FBI, as they were walking around, they were like, holy crap, this storage room, there's more boxes. Can we go in there and check and make sure that there's nothing more that we should have back? Trump and his lawyers said no. Holy crap, there's like a shit ton of boxes in this bathroom. Can we go through this? Trump and his attorneys said no. Holy balls, this ballroom, on this stage, all over the place. There are all these boxes that look exactly identical to all these other boxes that you are giving us that all have classified documents. Can we go through and just make sure, just to be safe? We just want to make sure. Trump and his attorney said, that's basically what happened. They weren't allowed to. This certification was false. The FBI knew it was false. And the FBI was at that point required to get a search warrant to obtain classified documents from these rooms that they were prohibited from going into. So how they got that was they took all of this evidence. They even got some people from Mar-a-Lago to testify and give them more information. There were surveillance tapes. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And they presented all this to a magistrate judge. Now this judge was appointed under the Trump administration. So I just want to point that out as well. So this magistrate judge issued a search warrant. They said, yes, you can go through, get all this stuff. And when they performed that search warrant, they found boxes that contained 184 documents with classified documents. These include 67 marked confidential, 92 secret, and 25 top secret documents. That's a lot that he had no business having. All these documents, I used to have a security clearance. I know the procedures for this very well. They're all supposed to be kept in a room, in a very specific room, very specific area that is very secured. If you have a cell phone, you take it out of your pocket and leave it in a little box, a little container outside of this room. This is how secured it's supposed to be. Not like in a bathroom. Not like on the stage of a ballroom. Not like in your office and classified documents in your desk drawer, just like hanging out, like he had. It's not the proper way to hold on to classified documents. Even if it's confidential, which is the lowest level, it's still supposed to be kept in that secured room. All of this shows that Trump had multiple times, multiple opportunities to return these documents. This is over the course of 18 months that he had this time to return this. Now, there was one Republican commentator, after I was watching all this, who said that successful democracies don't have politicians tell investigators and law enforcement what other politicians should investigate before the facts are out. Said that he wanted to remind people that Trump was saying, lock her up, even after Hillary was investigated and cleared during the time of the presidential election in 2016. And then Trump was investigated after his "Russia, are you listening?" comment during that press conference, and after they received that sealed dossier, where they had valid reason to believe that it was valid. And if you read the Durham report, if you listened to him testify in front of Congress, he actually said that the FBI, upon receipt with all the information that they had at that time, they had no choice but to investigate, but to open up an investigation. They had no choice. And that was another thing. Durham, in his report, and while he was testifying in front of Congress, I actually personally read the report and I watched his full testimony in front of Congress. I don't know if you did, but I did. I like getting all the information. He said, and he agreed with the Inspector General's report. Inspector Generals, after big investigations like this, it's standard that they do an investigation, a review, just to make sure that everything was done right, things like that. He agreed with everything that the Inspector General found. There was really no new information that came up because of the Durham report. He just agreed with the Inspector General. But Durham did find that the Mueller investigation and its conclusions were accurate. They were correct. Donald Trump didn't personally speak with anyone in Russia, at least not as far as we can tell, which is fine. But people in his campaign did. Specifically, Paul Manafort was in contact multiple times with people who are known to be part of Russian intelligence. He gave these people polling data, and they in turn gave it to people who had basic what are called troll farms, and they gave misinformation in specific areas where Trump was doing kind of weak, kind of borderline, so that they could, again, misinformation, try and boost his numbers. That's what the Inspector General found, that's what Durham agreed with, and that's what Mueller found. So they agreed with everything. Now, as a reminder, Donald Trump appointed Wray, who was saying a number of things that Trump didn't like. He was actually, one part that I found kind of funny was Christopher Wray was specifically asked if he thought that Donald Trump, right now, liked him or was happy with him. And this got a big chuckle from everyone who's like all the Congress people who are there questioning him and people in the audience. This got a pretty big chuckle. He's like, I really don't know. You'd have to ask Donald Trump. Because he was giving a number of tidbits of information that Trump probably didn't like. But again, he was appointed by Donald Trump. John Durham, who was appointed by Donald Trump, if you read his report or watched him testify in front of Congress, there were a number of things that Donald Trump probably wasn't too happy about, but they were able to kind of spin it. Really, that's what happened, is there was a lot of spin there. And Donald Trump also appointed the Attorney General who was investigating Hunter Biden. Joe Biden did have the opportunity, did have the ability to fire that Attorney General. But Biden didn't want there to be any even appearance of a conflict of interest. He wanted justice to be served, as he should. I think that, personally, if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, I don't give a fuck who you are. Justice should be served. If I've said a number of times, I don't care who you are. If you're Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Reagan, whoever, if you did anything illegal, you should be held accountable. That means a president, that means your children, that's Hunter Biden, that's Ivanka, that's Jared Kushner. I don't care. They should be held accountable. Now, that Attorney General who did the Hunter Biden investigation did charge Hunter Biden with a few things. And one of those things is something that they typically don't charge anyone with. But in a way, they wanted to make an example of Hunter Biden. They wanted to charge him with something to make sure that it looked like they weren't giving him any special treatment. I don't know about you, but knowing that, now that you know that, isn't that kind of fucked up? I think it's a little bit fucked up. Isn't it? Now, that Attorney General as well, he was requested by Congress, by this Republican Congress, said, are you being given a hard time by Biden? What are they doing? Now, this Attorney General, on multiple occasions, he responded to Congress. He wrote the Republican Weaponization Committee, the Judicial Committee, everyone who asked him, he wrote them letters. He responded to them saying, okay, Biden, the Biden administration, Merrick Garland, the current Attorney General, every time I've asked them for any sort of resource, anything at all, they've given it to me. Have they interfered? Absolutely not. They haven't done fuck all. They haven't done anything. They've done every single thing that I could ever ask for. I have never had anyone, any administration, anyone, anywhere, be as helpful as they have been. Everything that I've wanted, I've never been turned down. Now, I don't know who you are, who you voted for, and I don't care. I don't care. Isn't that the way that it should be? Isn't that how justice should be served? Is if you're investigating the current president's children, that investigator should have everything that they need. Shouldn't they? If you're investigating the former president, they shouldn't be above the law. If you're investigating the current president, they shouldn't be above the law. Like I said, Biden, Trump, Obama, I don't care. They shouldn't be above the law. Should they? Should they? Well, anyway, again, my name is Matthew. This is Matthew Land. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.